What is up? This is Tanya Daka with the Legend Maker Global, and I wanted to jump in here and give you 4 steps to actually help you make your copy more profitable. Okay, the first thing that I want you to always think about when you are crafting anything, whether it's a directory listing or an email subject line or a social media post or a headline for a sales page, I want you to focus on creating a depth of curiosity that will not let them do anything except read the copy that's underneath or watch the video that's coming up with it. Okay? Because if you are not focusing on that first line, and most people don't, most people go and craft their copy, write their message, create their content, and then they go back and stick a headline on it that basically says to the reader, hey, this is what you're going to see. This is what you're going to learn. This is what you're going to read. Excuse me. And that inherently drives the reader in the opposite direction, right? Because you're giving them the information that their brain is looking for in the one line. Therefore, they need to read no further and they move on. So I need you to spend time focusing on the one thing that is going to make sure that they see the copy or watch the video underneath that one line. And that's creating curiosity, creating intrigue, tapping in and allowing yourself to see with new eyes. So this first line is called the hook. It's what it's called in journalism. It's what it's called in everyday writing across the board in this industry. It's called the hook. And it's called a hook because the intention is to do just that, hook the reader and pull them in. So you need to focus on what you've written, right? Because I want you to write your copy or your content first or plan out your video first. And then I want you to extract the really great part about what you've just written and make that your hook. Make that the first line, make that the lead line, the headline, right? The subject line, the title, okay? Think beyond what you see on the paper. Think into the effects of what is going to happen if they take action on what you've written, right? For example, for a client, I was just doing some copy about love and manifestation, and I could have taken just what I did, how to use love to manifest the life you want, and put that on there. There's no intrigue in it. It is a how-to, but it is so overused that using it in that way would not do the post any service, right? It would actually be a disservice. So I tapped in, I went a little deeper, okay, and what was unique about what I had written? Well, what was unique was the fact that manifesting or love doesn't just help you manifest the life you want. It helps you accelerate your manifestation, right? So how to speed up your manifestations using the greatest force in the universe. Okay, what does that mean? What is the greatest force in the universe? Like, and what do you mean speed it up, right? So there's some inherent intrigue built into that concept. That was what I went with for one of the hooks. And in Hooker Camp, if you have seen it or not yet seen it, or if you're planning on seeing it, I get into depth on hooks and how to use different layered hooks to actually get people involved. That way, if they don't catch just your headline or they don't catch just your first line, they're being caught by other ways, but that's for another time. So anyway, going back to the topic at hand, focus on your hook. Focus on the fucking magnificence of the information that you're laying in front of them. What is so powerful in it that they have to read it? Okay? So that's step one. That's the getting attention part. Step two is the keeping the attention, right? Don't just write, I, You, I did this, I do this, I do that, or you do this, you do this, you do that, right? Use narrative forms of story to capture their hearts and pull them in, right? Like the hook gets them in the eye, and then the story gets them in the heart. Does that make sense? So hook them with the eyes, capture their hearts with and keep that attention by using narrative. If you're not sure what I mean by narrative, think about it this way. And this was what one thing that I took away from my mentor, who actually makes like $25,000 for a single sales page, right? Like he's one of the industry leaders. And one thing he said to me was, if you can see it on a movie screen, that's how you want to lay it out in your copy, right? Like using the technique of putting the visual in front of them is what creates engagement, right? It has their heart taking out the bits and pieces of the story and building a picture in front of their faces. So we don't say, are you tired of always feeling defeated? Or are you overwhelmed with the whatever? Are you overwhelmed with having to do everything yourself? Are you tired of blah blah blah, right? So like whatever the initial phrase is that comes to your mind, I want you to go down into you 3 to 5 more steps, right? So what does overwhelm look like? What does frustration look like? Paint the picture. Extract the the images that come to your mind and place them in a unique story setting so that you're using actual narrative techniques that you would use to write a book or to write a screenplay, sorry, and actually put the words into a form that requires their brain to build the picture for you. The more time they spend building that picture, like seeing the mother who is so done with having to scramble around the house at the last minute to get everybody ready and get out the door. Did you feel the overwhelm in that? Scramble around the house, active words, imagery, right? Learn what telling a good story is, and then tap into that knowledge to craft your copy. Whether this is, again, for an email, for a social media post, for a sales page copy, for a directory listing, for whatever, right? Like this can all be done on any scale. So once you've hooked them with their eyes and you've grabbed them by their hearts, the next layer to copy that converts, to copy that is profitable, is to build trust. Now, sometimes this building trust part can be interwoven with the keeping their attention, right? With step 2. This is step 3, but it can also be interwoven with step 2. When you are able to use points of reference that allow you to position yourself, as I did earlier in this, whatever this is, brief masterclass, I don't know. I said I was writing copy for a client earlier. Boom, there was anchor number 1 for trust, right? And then I could have said some hooks that client that have helped my clients make X amount of money have done this. Boom, anchor number 2, right? How can you build trust anchors into your copy? You can do it in the story. You can layer it after the story has been laid out, right? You can say, if you want more information on this and how I've helped blah, 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 this many clients do this much, whatever, then boom, there's another trust anchor. Okay. People struggle to put trust anchors in their copy because they feel like it sounds pretentious. It sounds braggadocious. It sounds insincere, but you can absolutely word them so they are utterly and completely from your heart and don't sound like, look at me, look what I did. You should buy from me because I'm not that there's anything wrong with that. You should be able to do that for yourself. But people struggle to do that. And if you're one of those people who struggle to be like, yes, buy my stuff because I'm the most magnificent human being on earth, then work on tempering your words. So building the trust anchors. Sorry, lost my train of thought there for a moment. So building the trust anchors are going to help you sort of solidify the seeds of trust that have been planted by the hook and the story, right? So making sure that you're weaving trust into that story, making sure that you are tacking it on at the end if you need to. And again, on any scale, whatever you're writing, this works. This trust that you're layering in is the deciding factor because I don't care how good your hook is, and I don't care how good your ability to keep their attention is, because if you cannot get their trust and keep their trust, they will not buy. Period. End of conversation. End of conversation. Like, yes, the hook is so important because without the hook, nothing else exists. But however, you can have that hook and you can have nothing else, and then that will be all you have is the hook. Trust is the basis of every single monetary exchange that we have in our daily lives. So it is absolutely important that you are positioning yourself not just in any single piece of copy, but in every piece of copy. Does that mean that you have to go off half-cocked about this result and that result and the other result? No. How you speak about your content, how you speak about your relationships with your clients, how you speak about yourself, how you speak about your worldview, how you speak about the world in general, all of these things feed into your positioning. They feed into layering into trust. So yes, there is no single post that is a standalone post that is going to close a 5-figure program, right? We don't ever want to think of a single piece of copy having done a thing because it just doesn't work that way. It works when all of the cogs of the machine are working together. Okay? So I've gone off half-cocked on that point. So that is step 3, or I don't want to call it a step. It is a step though. It is a step. It's a separate step, but it's combinable with all other steps. Now, lastly, I need you to learn how to ask for the sale. I need you to stop saying, book your call now, buy now, grab your ticket, get your seat. These things send a subconscious signal to your reader or your viewer that they are still an object, that you don't really have their best interest at heart, that you're not really concerned with whether or not they get the result, but it's about you doing what you want them to do. We need them to see and feel that this is about them, that you have their best interests at heart. And let me just say, I'm hoping that it's kind of understood that this is all done with ethical intention, not with manipulative intention. Most of the coaches I work with don't have those intentions. Most of my clients, not most of my, but all my clients are like driven by, they're not the bro marketer style. Okay, let me go back and get back on track again. So using ethical means tap into what they're going to get. Remind them of why they want to register. Yes, I want to live an extraordinary life. And let that be your button. Yes, give me my ticket. Okay, even that's saying the same thing as register my seat, but it's putting it on them. It's about them. Give me my ticket, right? So even if you are stretching to find that call to action that feels benefit driven, you can resort. Let me try it again. You can resort to the give me part. Give me, I want, sign me up. But again, that one should be like the last. Okay. Profitable copy is copy that gets their attention, keeps their attention, establishes trust and builds trust, and then effectively asks for the sale. And that effectively asking for the sale, the CTA, is the part that people slap on. So we have the headline, we're just scrambling to write something that just describes what we've written. And then we've got the call to action, which is very sort of half-ass, like, oh, you read that copy, then obviously you want to sign up for this kind of thing. So take some time to focus on sussing out the benefit. Sussing? Is that the right word? I don't think it is. Of having or of saying yes to you, to your program, to your product, to your service, whatever. And I've done all of this without having told you who the fuck I am, because honestly, if you don't know who I am, it's fine. I'm a copywriter. My name is Tanya Daka. I've been writing copy for businesses since 2011. Most of my clients are 6 and 7 figure clients. I have had some 8-figure clients as well. I have had household brands as well. So I kind of get this shit that I'm teaching you. I know how to do it. You can trust me. And I'm not trying to sell you anything. So my spiel or my speech about who I am is not going to be any longer than this. I'd like you to take the time to focus on crafting this copy to the best of your ability, because when you win, then your community wins. And when your community wins, your state wins, the world wins. And that is what Legend Maker Global is about. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you another time.